Hi and welcome back. So today our special guest is Claire Richardson, and Claire is actually an IT business analyst and project manager who specialises in websites, which, as you know, is very important for us in that startup phase. So thank you so much for joining us, Claire.
Hi, nice to meet you all.
Yeah, in the startup phase of the business, websites is something that comes up so much because I think a lot of people think that it has to be the very first thing that needs to be done, and it can cause a little bit of anxiety. So I'm glad we have you here to chat today. So the very first thing I wanted to ask you was, what is the very first thing that people need to look at when they're going to looking to set a website up?
Okay, well, firstly, I want to say that even though websites is my business, it's not essential to have a website. And I was trading for years without my own website while I was doing it part-time. You get work through word of mouth. And even when you do get your website up, feel free to just get it up. Just get up anything that you can. Like, you don't have to have it perfect. And as you're writing emails to clients, or you're dealing with clients on Messenger or whatever, as you explain what you do, keep those emails and those text messages and file them away somewhere. And when you go to do your website, you'll be able to bring those out, and it's a perfect explanation of what you do and explaining your services to people that you'll be able to use on your website.
Yeah. And great testimonials as well. Sorry.
That's all right, exactly. That's okay. So the first thing that you need to do is purchase your domain name. So your domain name is something like virtuallyholistic.com.au, and you no longer need to have the www at the start that websites used to need. So don't worry about that. You just go to something like GoDaddy, Crazy Domains, wherever you want, Melbourne IT, there's some good ones. Net Registry is another good Australian one. And just purchase your domain. Try and focus on a .com or a .com.au, but you do need an ABN to get a .com.au. And the next thing you'll need is hosting. So hosting is not like hosting a party, which I have had to me before. Hosting is basically a server or a computer where your website code sits, and your domain name will point to that, so that people can type in your domain name and it knows to redirect them to that server to see your website. So don't worry if that sounds like a little bit over your head. All you need to know is that you need to get your domain name and you need to get hosting. Now, there's various levels of hosting and pricing and the services that they offer. If you're using a WordPress website, which I mostly work in, then there are managed WordPress hostings that do a lot of the backups and security and WordPress updates for you. So even though you might be paying a little bit more, it might save you in the long run, because you're not having to rebuild your website when it gets hacked, because you know you've got your backup there.
Yeah, that's a really good tip, actually.
And so I'll keep going a little bit more, because there's just so much detail in these questions. There's so much good information that I want to share. So there's WordPress and WordPress.com. They're two different types of WordPress. WordPress.com is hosted for you on a server, and you can point your domain name to that, but it's more for personal blog sites or whatnot. If you've got a professional business, you really want to be getting a self-hosted WordPress, which is buying your hosting, as I said before, and then setting up WordPress on that hosting.
Yeah,
it's definitely the best way to go. WordPress is a free solution, and lots of people DIY, but it can get a little bit complex for some people. So there's so much information and so much that goes into it that if people just say, oh, just go build your own WordPress website, don't freak out when you go to do it and you're like, this is really hard. There's so much to it and there's so much information here, and I've spent the last 5 hours trying to figure out this one little thing. Just ask for help. Just go to someone that's done it before, or myself or Teresa, and just get some help with it. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It is pretty tricky, and even though I have done my own before, it's not something that I would do again myself, because it did take me way too long. So yeah, definitely a good tip is to go, if you are amazing at IT and you know your stuff, then for sure give it a go. But if not, definitely a good idea to get someone who knows what they're doing to get it done for you.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Great. So the other thing I think I wanted to just check with you were sort of pages and like what kind of important things should, or basic things do you need just to get that website up, sort of pages wise?
Excellent. So the next thing after you get your hosting set up and you install WordPress would be to just customize the design a little bit. Just put your logo in the header, put your colors into the site, and make it look and feel a little bit like you. This can be a really time-consuming process. Good idea. I'm going to give away a really, really good little tip here. Something I've used called Beaver Builder recently. It's fantastic. It just has a really nice interface where you can just drag and drop and customize all the colors and everything. Like, you'll love it. It's fantastic. It can be expensive if you get a developer license, but you can use that on as many sites as you like. So yeah, that's something else that I offer to clients. You can use it with any theme, or they have a Beaver Builder theme. So if you have your website set up existing, I can just put the Beaver Builder plugin in, and it lets you really nice drag and drop, and you see, it's called WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. It's a technical acronym. And it just lets you like drag and drop the screen exactly how you want it. And so yeah, really nice little tool that people might want to look at using, Beaver Builder.
Excellent.
So the next thing, you set up your logo and your colors, and you plan out what pages you want. So to get started, you really can quite easily set up 5 pages. It's not difficult in WordPress to set up extra pages and add them into the menu. So it's not something that it's not really a price point for developers that say the number of pages that you're getting. It shouldn't really make a particular difference to the price unless those pages have a lot of functionality.
Okay. So
you really only need the home, about me, blog, and work with me, and contact, a way for people to contact you. So they're the 5 pages that I would recommend. Yeah. Excellent. And a blog is short for weblog. So it's just a way where you can go on and write what's called a post. So in WordPress there's pages, which is where your main content goes. And then you have a post that you might put up every week or every month, or whenever you actually find the time, about what you're working on, someone you've worked with recently, or a great tip that you've just found out. And you put that up on your website to show that you can give away some valuable information to your clients, and that they can see that your services will be of value, and they might sign up to, say, an email newsletter form, which Teresa can help you set up in MailChimp.
Yeah. Aweber, one of those.
Aweber, MailChimp, and so that leads me into lead generation, which are things like your contact form and your email marketing list, which would be MailChimp or Aweber. And you create a list in one of those programs, and you have a little form that gets put onto your website. And when people go in there, you've probably done this before, you go and you type your name and your email address, and they'll get added. Your clients will get added to your list. And building that list allows you to have those people to go back to when you've got a special product or service coming out, or new pricing, or an offer, or you're finding that you're really low on work at the moment, and so you might send out a special to that list that maybe have worked with you before or are interested in your products. So they're like warm leads because they're already interested in you, so they're not cold leads like they've never heard about you before. So you could send out, you have your newsletter sign-up form on your website, maybe underneath where your blogs go, and then people read your blog and go, this is really interesting, and sign up, and then you've got that connection with them to build on further.
Awesome. Yeah, lead generation is so important too, because it's where, you know, you can start building that tribe that you're talking to, and you then having your website, you've got that platform to be able to bring them in and to get them to have a look around and see what else you have to offer.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, if you can give away as much value as possible in those blogs, it's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just
so I've got
sorry. I just thought
yeah, that's okay.
When I mentioned the pages, I should have asked you, when you are about to start, do you do some sort of a mapping process?
I do, yes. Yeah. So I'll start off for my clients, I'll do an analysis and planning session, where I'll go through what their services are, what their goals of their website are. So their goals might be things like lead generation, sales of services, coherent online presence across all of your online channels, like your social media. And so that means like having the same logo that you've got on Facebook, and some of the same imagery and the same business name. And so you want to make sure that that's all the same across the channels. So you look at the goals of your website, what your services are, what your entry-level services are, your mid-range and your VIP services. People mostly aren't going to click on a button on your website and buy a $5,000 package. They're going to generally, at the level that we're talking about in business here, connect with you before they do something like that. So I've seen a lot of people recently having the homepage purely as lead generation, and your lower level services. You don't want those VIP services necessarily on your homepage.
Yeah.
And then what is your company vision? Who are your target audience? If you've done any avatar interviews or persona interviews, use the words that they use in those interviews. Use the words that your ideal clients would use. So if what their fears are, what their ideal solutions are, use those words when you're crafting your content.
Excellent.
And any social media as well, make sure you put your links to your Facebook page or Facebook groups, how people can follow you.
Excellent. Excellent. So with all of that, Claire, was there anything else that you could think of that would be like an important step for first goers, like people that are starting out with their websites?
Their important first steps?
Oh yeah, so anything else apart from obviously what we've covered, is there anything else that you can think of that's sort of important for the girls to know?
Yeah, probably the last thing, but not least by any means, is backups.
Yes.
Yes, make sure you have a backup system in place. So make sure you're backing up your files and your database. WordPress has two parts to it. It has your files on your server, and then it has a SQL server, SQL database that has actually all of your pages, content and whatnot goes into that database. So it's very important that both of those are backed up, and you can do that with something like Backup Buddy. which is a plugin that gets installed into WordPress. In WordPress, from the left-hand menu, there's a button that says plugins, and you just go plugins, add new, and you can search for Backup Buddy and install that. And you can set that to run periodically, either weekly or monthly, depending on how often you're changing your site. Set that to Backup Buddy to run to Dropbox or Google Drive, so that you know that those backups are happening regularly. And check Dropbox and Google Drive to make sure that the backups are there and they contain files and that they have worked.
Yeah.
And if you're managing a lot of WordPress sites, then you can use something like Manage WP, which is an online service. And I think it's around $3 a month for per website, which is a pretty good deal, really. It allows you to go in and upgrade each of your plugins and install plugins to multiple sites from the one location, and it allows you to take backups and schedule backups of multiple sites from the one location as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I've actually worked for a man who accidentally deleted 3 websites all at once and didn't have a backup.
Oh no!
And he was he thought of himself as a very an awesome IT person, but obviously the backup is something that he thought to do. So that's a really good tip, and I've taken notes because it's something I need to do as well. So thank you so much for that, Claire.
That's okay.
So how obviously when the ladies are in the startup phase, the website is something that comes up a lot. So how can the girls get in contact with you and work with you when they're at that stage?
Yeah, excellent. Feel free to call me anytime with questions. I'll try to make myself very available. I end up doing a lot of time just showing people demos or giving them tips wherever I can. You can go to my website, clairerichardson.com. Or you can send me a message on Facebook, or you can give me a call on 0404 202 498.
Awesome.
I'd love to chat with you.
Excellent. I'll be leaving some links and some more information for Claire also in the below once we're done. So thank you so much for joining us, Claire, and I'm sure that the ladies will be in touch with you soon. And thanks so much for shedding some light on some things that, kind of boggle the rest of our brains. So I really appreciate it.
That's okay. Pleasure. I hope it's not too much information, and I know it's a lot to take in, but yeah, feel free to contact me if you need anything clarified.
Yeah, excellent. No, I think it was perfect. It was a nice just entry into the world of websites, and really great. Thank you so much for that.
Okay. Awesome. Pleasure. Have a great day.